Hey, welcome back to Global Environment. We're still talking about the global heat engine, and we mentioned a little while back about currents being driven by winds, and I want to show you how that can really play out in important ways. So if we look at this slide here, near the equator, we have winds that basically want to go straight, but because of those Hadley cells, but because of Coriolis effect, they're bent. They're bent this way. And in the southern hemisphere, they're bent in the same direction. So you have converging winds here. And it pulls water, in this case, across the Pacific. Now, this is kind of interesting because it has a big impact on especially our climate and also our fisheries production. So if water's being pulled toward the west here, some water comes from north and south, but it also pulls up water right off the coast of Peru. And this is interesting because one of the problems with fisheries is that sunlight drives the production of algae, which feeds zooplankton, which feed fish, but also nutrients. Now on the ocean it's a problem because the sunlight's on the surface. The nutrients that are needed to grow the fish in the long run are at the bottom. Now this wind pattern and then current pattern, ocean current pattern, brings nutrients up. So you find a lot of fish here, and that's kind of interesting. Now, if we go ahead, what happens during El Nino versus a normal year? So a normal year, again, you've got wind being blown this way, it's blowing those currents, and you've got colder water coming up from the bottom with lots of nutrients feeding lots of fish. And it's stretched across the ocean here. You also get kind of a tilt to the ocean, actually, because the wind is blowing things, in this case, toward the left. Now, during El Nino events, we see in this screen here, the winds kind of break up and you lose that driver across the ocean. So that difference between the ocean and its deepness on this end versus this end become reduced. You can see how it's different than over here. And also less of that cold nutrient-rich water is being brought up. Now what happens? Not only does the climate change when we see where rain falls and things like that, but fisheries off the coast of Peru often totally collapse because those nutrients are gone, which is kind of amazing. Who would have thought that wind patterns would have such a big difference when it comes to fisheries production and economics? Now, this slide shows some of the other things that occur during El Nino events. Some areas become warmer. Other areas become cooler. Some places become more wet. There's a lot of differences. Some areas become dry. And again, these are just from small changes in the global heat engine. So you can see how important this is to the functioning of the Earth's ecosystems. And next time we're going to talk a lot about biomes. And the biomes, where they're located, it's all about the global heat engine. So keep working on those continents, and we're going to see those posted, and we'll be able to talk a little bit about those as well. So see you next time.